Hello, everyone. I welcome you to this particular lesson called file organization. Now, it becomes necessary for me to walk you through this idea, this particular lesson. There's some of the structure that is like universal. Whenever you're working with After Effects, is universal, but there are also some that are very peculiar to me based on often the way I've come to. There's just some that are just peculiar to me. There are some that are universal. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So first off, once now I'm in the class one classwork, right? 001. Now I've named this particular folder file organization. But the way it works is that when you are starting this particular one is meant to be named after the project. Let's say Google contracted you to do animation for them, to do explainer video for them. So this would have been named Google and not file organization. So once you come in, you enter it, right? Or you create the folder. It's just that I don't want to bore you people. I just don't want to waste time. You see me create each of the folder. It doesn't make sense. But the way it happens that once you create that folder, you create on that one, rename. So first off we have After Effects, yes, which is the AE, right? Is the short, which is shortened to AE. So After Effects. So once you come in here, you will see this is the After Effects folder, right? This is the After Effects folder. The After Effects project file itself, right, is named file organization, right? Then you will have named it, HP, whatever company calls you, or whatever name of the project, even if it's just a fun project you're doing. Then here is AE stock. Though I don't have anything in there now, but what this does is that, for instance, you've animated a logo before, right? Or let's say you have some After Effects project that you would like to also import into, maybe a client has given you work to do and you've done a particular work for them that they are actually referencing, that you may also need to build off from there. So it makes more sense for you to not to just start from scratch, but start from the former one that you've created. So you put it here, AE stock, right? Then Illustrator. This is AI is a short form of Illustrator. That's where all your Illustrator files sit. Then you have audio. I have one particular audio in here now. Then you have brief and document. That's because when you are in communication with them, they will have given you, okay, we want this to look this, we want this dimension. All of those details will be taken and brought here. And whatever document you're also using during the course of the project is best kept here. Then you have images. I have this particular image now. Then PSD is the that's Photoshop document. PSD Photoshop document. They all enter here. Then reference. During the course of your project, you must have done your research, the look and feel, or even the clients could have sent you some research, some reference material, how they want the look and feel to be. So it's best kept here so that whenever you're transferring the project to, you can always collect the reference and also look. Then video. Sometimes they must have shot the video, right? You are the one to now add, the animation to it, or there is a particular video that they want inside there, right? So this is where all of that sits. So how does all of this translate in After Effects? Now in After Effects, there's some other comps happening here. There are other folder, not comps actually, other folder happening here. So I have main comp. This is where all my major comps, so that these are like the main comp is like the overall file, the one that the house, like, right, that sits every other file, every other folder happening, every other sub minor composition happening. This is where you get it. This is where you save it. Then later on, like, okay, when we are in here now, you see I have, there's a little bit of like scene happening. The first scene is called outstanding, right? Then the second scene is called vintage. That's yes. So this outstanding scene, right, is best saved in minor projects, in minor comps rather, minor comps. So you have outstanding comp, which is minor, and vintage. Then inside here I have sound. So let me play the sound for you to see, for you to hear. Yeah. So, and this now is coming from my audio, right? So you can see. So this is how, in a nutshell, actually, this is how to like. So for each of your, for each of items you bring is best name. You name them properly. You have your folder named properly, so that for easy referencing. Because yes, I failed to make mention of this, is that one huge difference between After Effects, the way After Effects works from plenty of other design software, let's say Illustrator, Photoshop, even Microsoft, because many of you must have come from that background of having experience with Microsoft. Now, the way these other tools, they organize their file structuring and their file referencing, is that once you copy, let's say you're in Microsoft Word, if you copy this image now, where's my image, into it, if you copy, let's say you bring this image into it, what it does is that it creates it does copy and paste. It creates another version for you inside that software. So when you go back and delete the original one, right, it won't affect the project that you've created, the image you've brought into Microsoft. It doesn't affect that, because Microsoft recreates that like it does. But here in After Effects, it doesn't do that though. If I go and delete, which is here, if I go and delete this image now, you will hear, you know what, well, let's just say if I do that, there's some issue that someone will just run into. There will be like a break. There will be a break of network. Should I try that for you to see? You know what, let me even try that. So I've done that now, right? If I come here, yes, you can see After Effects file could not be found, right? So this is what you get. It's offline, because its work, the way it organizes its file is on a network base. It doesn't do copy and paste. It doesn't duplicate. It doesn't do copy and paste. It doesn't recreate. It does referencing. So whatever I do to that file, it affects it. So that it becomes very crucial. Whatever file you are using, whatever any place you are bringing it from, make sure they all sit. You've created a folder for each of these file type. So whenever you are bringing all those files, you're having them sit here. You are bringing them inside here, so that it becomes easy for you to go back. And whenever you're also giving the project to any other person to work, so it becomes easier for file sharing and you giving the project to another person. Not that when it now comes for you to give the project to another person, you start looking for one particular image, you start looking for a sound. It doesn't work that way. So for me to think Control Z, yes, I've just done Control Z now, so it's back. So hopefully, yes, the way to okay, let's say at a particular time, right, you deleted, or you just deleted, there was a particular image just went offline, a particular file went offline. Then how do we rectify that? We come here, we right click on the particular image, we go to, yeah, you just double click actually. Many times just double click on it, then it start telling you, okay, we need to look for it. Then I can come here, copy the path, right? And yeah, I make sure that this, the file I'm relinking, this is more of like relinking it now, is also named the same thing with what it was formerly, right? Right now I'm looking for this outstanding image, right? So I can copy this path. You can copy the path, or I can start looking for where it is, but this is how I work. It's easier for me to just copy the path and come to this path here and paste it. Then instead of me to go to file and start looking, so once I'm here, remember I'm looking for this outstanding JPEG, blah blah blah, and it's also named outstanding JPEG, right? So I double click, then it comes back. So this is how to relink your files when any file goes offline. So the same thing goes to what was it called, your sound and everything. Sometimes you may not necessarily have to that. I just double click, right? Sometimes the way to go about it, okay, let's say this sound has gone off. The way to go that you say reload footage or replace footage, then you go to file, then start looking for that's replace footage or reload footage, start looking for it. So that brings us to the end of this file organization. So the key takeaway is that the way After Effects is structured based on line, is structured based on network, that is line. Everything you are bringing in is linked, is interwoven. Once there's a break, After Effects starts to shout that, okay, this has gone offline, and you start to get that bar. So that's how it works, as different from plenty of our other software. So it becomes necessary as we are starting our project, to make sure we go through this, we name everything, we name our folder. So whatever we are using, we are bringing them inside here, and this is where we are taking it from into After Effects so that it becomes easier. Because sometimes when project goes offline and your client needs it, when some files goes offline and you're like near the deadline, and you start running heter scatter, that's not the best way to approach it.